Ladies, this episode is so desperately needed. Okay, firstly, if you haven't listened to The Dark Side of Personal Development, I would highly recommend that you go and listen to that episode after you've listened to this one, because I am noticing a serious problem. And the problem is that people are thinking that they need to keep themselves in this like lifelong cycle of excavation of their lives and finding all these problems and finding shit that literally potentially doesn't exist in the name of being healed and personal development. I'm not going to go too far down this rabbit hole, but it's a very real thing, which is why talk therapy, you got to be careful with it sometimes, is because we can make up false memories where, thoughts are put into our head. We see something on social media and then we think, oh my gosh, that happened to me. Do I have that? And we literally start to potentially, I'm not saying that you've necessarily done this, but you potentially start to quote unquote, remember things that didn't actually happen. And I'm noticing this in the sense of how people are consuming personal development content online, which obviously has its absolute pros. Like, yay, we've all become like way more conscious, way more emotionally regulated. I look at our children and I'm like, gosh, they are going to be so well off because of secure attachment styles and whatnot. But what it's causing a lot of people to do is limit their growth and expansion because they are thinking, well, I'm still broken. I still have to do all this healing in order to essentially deserve to grow and expand. And so what you're saying is you're saying to yourself, by staying in this constant excavation, finding shit, looking at like, oh my gosh, how is this my fault? How is this? How did I cause this? This is a reflection of me, or, this is mirroring me, or whatever it is that we're telling ourselves, or I attracted this in. So what is it that unconsciously I'm believing? And there is a time and a place for that. Like, I do agree with all of that to an extent. And that's where the dark side of personal development comes in. That episode to an extent. But what I'm now noticing is that in this behavior, you are subconsciously saying to yourself, I do not deserve to grow, expand, or get to the next level because I'm broken, because I still need healing, because I still have to do X, Y, and Z. And it's not right. And so I'm calling bullshit on all of this. I'm calling bullshit. Okay. So the reason why I did this, Olivia was like, please, for the love of God, can you do a podcast on this? She was like, I am getting so many emails from people saying, I've been doing healing work for 10 years, but I listened to this episode and this thing was triggered. So I think I still need to do more healing work before I join her year, for example, because her year is for those of you that have done healing work on yourself and now you want to go into more growth, expansion, become the next level version of yourself. And so people are essentially saying that they are not they don't believe that they're like high caliber enough. They don't believe that they're worthy enough. They don't believe that they're fixed enough to grow and to expand. And we talk about this all the time, Olivia and I, and just how like people can get addicted to the healing and it doesn't become healing. It actually becomes victim consciousness is what it becomes. It becomes this cycle of keeping yourself playing small. And you do that because it's actually easier to blame yourself for not having what you want in your life rather than it sucking that you don't have what you want in your life. So like as an example, a woman will say to me, I've done all this healing, blah, 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 but like I still haven't attracted my dream man in. So I think that there's still something that I have to heal. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. Or it takes two to tango and you just haven't met him yet. And there's nothing that you still need to be finding to heal. Just go and live your life, babe. Literally go and have fun. Go enjoy your life. And he'll come in when the time is right. Stop thinking that it's your fault, that somehow you're still so broken and that's why you can't attract this thing into your life. The universe isn't like not giving you things because the universe is saying you're still broken or anything like that. Yes, of course, your trauma affects your vibration and therefore what you can attract in. But I'm not talking about you have not healed your sexual trauma or the abuse that you dealt with or the narcissism from your parents or a past relationship or the fact that you were heavily bullied at school. I'm not talking about that. You need to heal all of that because like as an example, you will not be able to get to your next level and grow and expand if you feel so unworthy, low self-confidence, you have demons in your head 24/7. Like if I gave you stuff to implement from her year, you wouldn't be able to do it. That's why I've said you need to do the healing work first. But, and here's the kicker. If you get triggered, or if something comes up, or if a wound doesn't resurface, I'm going to get to that in a second, are you able to lead yourself through that? Or do you get so dysregulated that you are not able to bring yourself back to safety at all? Whether it takes 5 minutes to bring yourself back to safety or whether it takes 5 hours, are you not able to bring yourself back to safety at all? If that's the case, then you're not ready for her year. Then you need to go and keep doing the healing work. But for a lot of us, we are if you've done the healing work right, if you've done it well, if you've done it with a facilitator that has actually gotten rid of the root trigger so that when you think about that time in your life, when you think about that scenario, when you think about that person, there is no trigger, there's no visceral response. If you've worked with someone that has gotten you there, so they've done true trauma healing, true somatic therapy and somatic release, then if a trigger comes up, if a wound comes up, it's not a past wound or a past trigger that you've already healed. It's maybe something similar, but it's come up in a new way. And the only reason why it's come up in that new way is because you're expanding and growing. And that wound could not have come up in that way had you not been in this expansion and in this growth, because prior to this moment, you literally were not in the environment to trigger it that way. So as an example, if you have, so what actually started Olivia being like, can you drop a voice message inside of, I did for 2 weeks, this epic, I really enjoyed it. Maybe I'll do it again next year, but I did this really fun Telegram, $29 offer, 2 weeks, every day you got a voice message from me. One of them you also got from Hal and Cray, my video editor and podcast editor. They were giving some like tips for about men. But anyway, and on one of the days I was talking about how you get to have it all. And one of the women shared that she has I think she'd done work on herself for like 10 years. She's done all this, healing, blah, blah, blah. But this old wound came up from her dad when she was listening to this audio. So she was like, I don't think I should join her year or maybe I'm not a fit for her year because I still have this wound to heal. So this is a perfect example of, no, this wound you don't have to still heal, quote unquote, as though it wasn't healed properly previously. The only reason why this wound came up was because I triggered it in a new way. I got in there in that new way. And that is a good thing. That is a good thing because that is how you then expand and you grow. But if you're never having things come up that you have to move through, that you have to regulate yourself through, that you have to whatever through, if you never have stuff come up, you are not growing. You literally are not expanding. Because as you expand, things come up. As you expand, new fears come up that you never would have had come up if you were not, having it all, or if you were not put in that got into that relationship. So like as an example, you can only heal, let's say your abandonment wound so much alone as a single woman. And then once you get into a relationship, then it can be healed at a deeper level and in a different way because it is actually being like massaged. I don't want to say triggered. I want to say massaged because I feel like people get the word triggered messed up in their head in terms of like what it actually means or like the context of it. So now that you're in this relationship, now this wound that you thought, oh my God, I thought I'd healed my abandonment wound. Like, yeah, you had up to a point, but you then were put in a new environment, in a new situation, in a relationship. So now that past wound is getting massaged and touched and aggravated in a new way, which is a good thing because now you can heal it in a new way. Prior to this relationship, you never could have healed it in the way that you can now. I want you to all understand that. So prior to the growth that you're going through, prior to joining her year, you never could have healed that wound around success or working, like I have to work a lot in order to make a lot, or the wound around like a sisterhood wound or whatever. You never could have healed it in the way that you now have because you've done her year. You never could have healed it prior to her year because it wasn't being aggravated in the way that it needed to for that next level of healing, growth, and expansion. So you can heal and expand at the same time simultaneously. It is not, first I have to heal and then I can expand. I mean, you can do it that way, but it's more so like healing and embodiment. They happen at the same time. And in order for you to expand, there is healing that will naturally happen at the same time, right? I mean, as I've expanded over the last 8 years since I did the bulk of my healing work, I have healed so much over the last 8 years. And it wasn't because I went and did, a billion retreats to heal those things, because it was these little things. It was these little tweaks. It was these little changes. It was a little bit of a different embodiment that then healed something that I didn't know that needed healing. And do you know how I healed those things? I healed them through embodiment. I healed them through integration. I healed them through being in a situation that aggravated that and being able to regulate through it and stay regulated through it. Because after you've done healing work, and the whole goal, let me explain, the goal of healing work is to never not be triggered again. It's to never not have a wound come up again. It's to not become some like perfect human that's put on a pedestal. Like that's not the goal. Well, that's not my goal with you anyway of healing work. The goal is now how quickly can you come back to safety, right? So prior to doing healing work, you might have gone into a freeze response. And in order to get to a freeze response, you have to go through fight or flight, even if it's for like a split second. So now, you've done the healing work, whatever. Now, when you go into a little bit of a freeze response or a fawn response, it takes 5 minutes to come back to safety, or it takes 5 hours to come back to safety, where prior to the healing work, you would not have been able to get back to safety, or it would have taken you like literally 5 months or 5 years. So the goal of healing work and of my work with clients is not to never have stuff come up again, because that's literally not possible. Like, we're having the human experience. The goal is that when something comes up, when you go through a traumatic incident, when you have a big emotional thing happen, that you're able to move through it in a way where you're able to meet yourself. It's not that you never go into a fight or flight, or that you never go into a fawn response, because again, that is not the human experience. Those responses are literally protective of you in a good way. So the goal is to never not experience that. The goal is that when you experience that, are you able to bring yourself back to safety? And if you are, then you've done the healing work. Then you, in my mind, are quote unquote healed. And people say, well, you're never healed because there's always more healing work to do. But I just don't think that's a positive narrative, because people are taking that message of, well, you're never healed because there's always healing work. They're taking that, and then it's turning into, I have more healing to do, so I'm not deserving of X, Y, and Z. Like, that's what's happening unconsciously and on an energy level, versus, no, I am healed. I have healed my trauma, and now I am living the human experience as the best version of me, as the version of me with emotional regulation, nervous system regulation, integration of healing, and embodiment. That is you living as her. The E in her, in my her framework, HER, the E is embodiment. But that embodiment is going to change in different seasons of life. But the embodiment encompasses the healing. So when you have the embodiment tools that I give you, it literally helps integrate healing. It helps you to heal in real time so that you can radiate and become her. So you can only heal receiving wounds and you being deeper in receivership when you are receiving. You can only, like when you're receiving more, you can only heal success wounds when you're pursuing the version of yourself that actually is reaching greater heights. So there is healing to be found in the expansion. Like, that needs to be written on a fucking t-shirt. There is healing to be found in the expansion, not I only deserve to expand. This is what's happening on an energetic level, on a frequency level, a vibrational level, I should say. Not I only deserve to expand when I've done all the healing work. So my final question for you, and I want to read this. I wrote it in an email to you guys, and I do not want to butcher this. My final question for you that you need to answer. Actually, I'm going to then give you 4 follow-up questions, but this one is the first one to answer. Being able, this is a statement first, being able to lead yourself through a triggering moment, or when you get a bit dysregulated, if you're able to lead yourself through that, that is what tells me that you're ready for her year. My question for you is, are you willing to lead yourself through what comes up in the human experience whilst you build the life that you actually want? If the answer is yes, then you're ready for the next level. If the answer is no, then you need to do healing work still, or for the first time, okay? And everybody needs to do healing work. Now, the 4 questions that I want to ask you, if you are sitting on the fence about joining her year, answer these questions. And I asked this actually inside of December, and they were really good. So I want to give this to you as well. If you're on the fence, I want you to honestly answer these three questions, the 4 questions I'm going to give you. And if you have yes to them, then you need to join. Number 1, will joining her year get you closer to your goals and desires for next year? Number 2, if you had my strategies, guidance, community, and coaching, will that increase your chances of success instead of you trying to figure this out alone? Number 3, can I figure out how to make this investment work? Number 4, which is a bonus question because I initially said 3, is my intuition, my heart, or my gut calling me towards this? You know the answer of whether this is your ticket to making 2026 a year that you literally can't even imagine right now. December of next year, you're going to look back and you are going to think, whoa, I blew my vision board out of the water. I had things happen this year that I didn't even know could happen. I am feeling a way that I haven't even tapped into before, that I didn't even know was possible. That is the goal for you, for her next year.